Now, for more on the world of electric vehicles, as well as the future of the ride-sharing economy, I spoke with Emil Michael, former chief business officer at Uber. We began by discussing how a shortage of drivers, alongside greater demand and rising energy prices, could translate to higher costs for rides well into 2022. Take a look.
The demand is still pent up. So I think prices will stay high for a while because also the driver's not going to go out on the road if gas prices get to $5 an hour and he doesn't think he can make up the difference by driving. They might pick something else to do. So there's a lot of cross currents, plus or minuses. And that's why you see the Uber stock price is kind of where it was at IPO. It's where it was a week ago, where it was a few months ago, because no one knows how to predict how long-term some of these shifts are going to be.
Yeah, how big of an impact could higher gas prices have on Uber and Lyft's business and ultimately the amount of drivers that they have?
Yeah, so if gas prices go from $2 a gallon in an average city to about 3.5 or $4, as a percentage of the driver's cost structure, it's about 20%. So on the margin, you're going to either sort of not get drivers growing by another 20% as they have this year, maybe they grow by 5% or 10%. And if it gets worse, the Saudis and OPEC has said they have no intention of increasing fuel production to lower prices. We've slowed down in the US on some of our gas production, which came from fracking and some of these other initiatives by the new administration. So it's going to be unpredictable, but on the margin, as gas prices go up, you will absolutely lose drivers. And I'll add one other point. New car and used car prices, too, have shot up through the roof. So if you're an Uber driver, and your expenses, the depreciation on this expensive car that you bought that was only expensive because it was, lower supply to it, and you have gas prices go up, you have two forces going toward you need to make more money on a ride before you'll actually get in the car.
Do you think that opens the door for a partnership maybe with an electric vehicle company or a electric charging stations company? What do you think?
I do in a way, and it's a fairly narrow way. There are consumers who are very climate conscious who will be happy to pay more for a ride that they feel is more green. But it's the volume, even if you hear about the partnerships with Tesla for Uber, it's a 50,000 car partnership against 3 million drivers. So in the short term, it shouldn't likely have that big an effect on the overall revenue, but the rides can be expensive and people might be willing to pay for them. When that percentage is instead of 50,000 over 3 million, it's more like 500,000 over 3 million. Then you're talking about potentially a bigger impact.
So Emil, the reopening is here, but not without headwinds, as you've mentioned. So what's your outlook for the mobility as a services industry as you look ahead, both shorter term into Q4 with winter coming, maybe people don't want to walk outside as much with the holidays coming, and also longer term as we look ahead to next year?
I'd say that when it comes to food mobility, right, food delivery, you've had this incredible growth spurt during COVID because people didn't or couldn't leave home. I think you'll see some normalization of that during the spring, during the winter here, through sort of holiday season, right? Because people are going out for holidays, they're celebrating with their families, usually cooked home meals, or going to restaurants for office parties, that sort of thing. When you think about next year, the thing to look at will be, did the habits we formed during COVID actually carry over to some degree next year when you have nothing to fear about for going out for a restaurant and so on? And I think they will to a degree. It certainly won't be with the growth that it had before, but how many more people have a food delivery app on their phone now than before 2 years ago? A lot. So I think that will continue to be one of the growth sectors in Uber's business and with DoorDash, et cetera. And you see it in China where Meituan is a $200 billion company, and they keep growing year over year at 30%.
Thanks to Emil Michael. That concludes this week's Market Brief. I'm Caroline Woods. Have a great week, and I'll see you next Monday.